Hello, everybody. I'm Helen Noble, celebrant of Surrey, founder of Swansong and co-founder of the Healthy Marriage Success Guide. Welcome to my channel. Weekly doses of information, utilising tips and tricks, observations, and general all things ceremony. This week, I'm talking about mothers. So, mothers, mums, mother-in-laws, mother of the bride, mother of the groom, grandmother, mothers-to-be. Mothers play quite a role in your decision making, whether it's subconscious or conscious. But how you're thinking about the mums does kind of affect the decisions you come to. So I just wanted to talk you through those. So let's start with mother of the bride. Now, on the day, she might be with you in the morning getting ready. She might be a handful on the run up to the wedding, or she might be completely hands off. Now, what's interesting is with two hats on for me, having been a bride and now a mother, it does kind of change the perspective of how you see the mothers of the bride. So you're probably also at the age where everyone around you is getting married, and if you're anything like us, we literally thought maybe we're going to have to take out a loan because there are hens, there are stags, there are overnight stays in hotels. It just becomes like, and on the list, if you're doing your own wedding, your mum might say, "Oh, I'd like to bring so and so with me," or "Aren't you inviting blah blah blah?" And you're thinking, "No, why would I invite them? They're your friends." So I'm just going to be on the mother's side for a minute. So hear me out. As a grown up that you are getting married, your mum's friends probably don't play that a big role in who you are at this moment in time getting married. However, for your mum, when you were little and when you were born, the mums really stuck together and they kept each other off the shelf. They hopefully stopped each other turning into alcoholics. They hoped that they were each other's sounding boards. And there's that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. There was probably that pack of really close friends, it might only be two, that genuinely helped your mum bring you up. It might be they babysat you 3 times a week. It might be they're your godparents. It might be they took you out for a walk in your buggy while your mum had a bath. And so actually your mum might want to celebrate getting you to adulthood. She's like, I made it. I didn't kill her. I didn't kill myself. We made it. We made it. We made it. We made it. And she might want her best friend who had helped her create you and you become the person that you are with her as her plus one or as her in her own right. So before you kind of go, Mum, why am I inviting your friends? Ask her, say to her, did Sarah play quite a role in my childhood? Is that why you want her? Because actually, it'd be really interesting to know what the answer is. And when you know that answer, then you can make an informed and fair decision about whether actually she's the right person to take up a place at the wedding breakfast, or, of course, in the ceremony. So ask why they're asking for those people to come. It might be that they actually played a really important part in keeping you alive, and your mum wants to celebrate with the people that helped her do that, which as a mum, I'm like, I really hope I get to bring a mate to my children's weddings. So, mum hat done. As a bride, when you're thinking, well, mother of the bride doesn't really have a job as such, they're just the mother of the bride and that's what they do. It might be they do want a moment to feel special. So what I do or tend to do in my ceremonies is have the mother of the bride be the last person to take their seat. So they might be in the room getting ready with you. They might have seen you arrive. They might be helping zhuzh the bridesmaids. But what would be useful for me as a celebrant is without the venue having to go like that at the back at me, which is, not the classiest. I'd rather the mother of the bride got walked in by a groomsman or the brother or someone, or happily marched up the aisle by herself and just took her seat. She doesn't need her own tune, she doesn't need a fanfare, but she just comes in a classy, dignified manner and is the last person to take her seat once you are at the door and you're ready and you know it's a green light. And then I will start literally by saying, the mother of the bride is here. I see that's my green light. So, blah, 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 blah. So the mother of the bride for me, if you're happy, plays a really key role because she is my green light that we are wedding ready. Now, if that doesn't float your boat, or you're thinking, well, actually there's a mother of the groom and she would like some airtime, then quite often the mother of the groom is a reader. And she, depending on the trust and the taste and whether you like her, it might be quite nice that you invite her to take a reading, but you also invite her to choose the reading. Risky, I know. But she birthed the groom. He's turned out all right. You want to marry him. So somewhere along the line, she makes good decisions. So maybe invite her and say, we'd really love it if you're a reader. Would you like to pick a reading? Now, before you just leave her to pick a reading, maybe have a chat with her and say, if we were to ask you to do a reading, would you like to choose it? And if you were to choose it, what would be the sentiment of that reading? i.e., she picks the reading, and what's the point of the reading? Is it gratitude? Is it hope? Is it a piece of advice? It can be any of those things or something completely different. It might be a prayer, could be a blessing, could be song lyrics. But if you are going to invite them to choose their own reading, that's lovely. But do give them a channel. Don't just be like, here's a lake of choice. It's called the internet. It will turn into a nightmare. So narrow it down, maybe give her a choice of 5 or 3 and say, we like all of these. You pick one that speaks to you. Or it might be you say, we would really like a reading about hope and fingers crossed for marriage, that kind of thing. Like, we wish you well, good luck. And then she can do her own research and she can pick a reading and she'll run it past you, hopefully. And that can be the mother of the groom's involvement. So there's one for the mother of the bride, green light, one for the mother of the groom, pick a reading. But it might be you want to involve the grandmothers. Now, there has been a couple of cute videos over on the old social media about the grands being flower girls. Now, that totally depends on their mobility and their location. Like, are they actually going to be at the wedding? I've had a couple of grandmas who have been the confetti providers. So they have spent the year getting roses, drying out the petals and collecting them all and putting them in a basket so that come the big day, the confetti is there. And I give them a little shout out. I'm like, thanks to Granny, whoever, for the confetti that is now about to get handed out to you, as they do a little signing and we get ready for the presentation. So that could be the grandmothers. It could be they create the confetti. It could be they're the flower girls. It could be they do a reading. Or it could be that they've got something that's something old that they're going to lend to you, or there's something borrowed. So I always say to the grooms or whoever is the least crier, bride, bridegroom, groom, whatever, to have a hanky. And so when whoever is going to be the crier starts crying, they can do the gesture of a hanky, but it may have been embroidered with grandma's initials because it's actually her hanky from her wedding. And then she can see it get used. Even if you're not crying, just do the gesture so that granny's happy. And it's just such a nice touch. So that's quite a nice way to get the grandmas involved. And then there's those mothers that are expecting. They're expectant mothers, or they're mothers with little ones. And you're thinking, I don't really want children at the wedding, but babes in arms, they're fine. They're pretty easygoing because they're manoeuvrable. The mum gets up, walks out, does some breastfeeding in the corner, or tucks herself so she's got an armrest so it's not uncomfortable. As long as they will, again, with hindsight and doing thousands of weddings, they are so self-sufficient. It might just be that you want to lay down a little ground rule, that you might say, any whimper of sound, please vacate. For me, I'm not bothered. We can have a full-on screamfest party if that's what is cool with everybody. But I know that some brides, particular, are literally like, no sound. I will be absolutely cacking my pants, and I don't want to be distracted by little ones having a yell. So maybe chat with the new mum or the mum to be and be like, you are absolutely more than welcome. I don't know what the naps are. I don't know if they'll be sleeping during the ceremony, but have a chat with Helen, i.e. me, on the day when they come. And because I used to work in theatre, I'm so used to making it accessible. It's completely second nature to me. So it might be I take out a couple of seats so the buggy can fit in. It might be I talk to the venue and say, where do we put the buggy so that actually we can use the sling. We just make it as comfortable and accessible for everyone so that everyone feels safe and happy, and that the couple up the front can totally chill out and not fret about any of the mothering that is going on in the room, be it new mums, expectant mums, grandmothers, their mums, or their partner's mums. So, and the final one is the mothers that aren't with us, whether they have departed and passed on, whether they can't make it, or whether there's been some kind of family feud and they're not coming, but actually you're really sad about that. And we can do a little mention in the script to say, I would say, welcome to all those in the room, but also welcome to all those that might be sitting down, raising a glass to us, knowing that this is the ceremony. We're thinking of you too, and thanks for having us in your thoughts. So that might be for the people that are here but not here and can't make it, and for the people that have passed on and are not here, we can light a candle, and we can do that in several different ways. And I'll do another video on that, on the other ceremonial touches that we can do inside the ceremony. But essentially, we light a candle for those absent friends and those that have passed. And that might be mother of the groom, mother of the bride, grandmother, whoever. It doesn't even need to be a mother, it can be anyone. But that's the candle lighting. But it's just to put it in context, that you can cover all bases with mothers. We've got it covered. The other thing I do, and the final thing that I do, it's not to say I will do other things, but the ones that I call to mind and I know, is if one of them is poorly and they really want to be able to make it, but they're just not up to it, they're just not well enough, that when we do a rehearsal, because I always do a rehearsal because it really helps the couple, and you're like, oh yeah, I get it now, I can see it, is we do the rehearsal with whoever is poorly to come along. So either we go to their house and do it in their garden so they can witness it. So we have almost like a mini wedding. We literally do the full on run through, but they're witness to it so they feel part of it. And that is so emotional, so intense. I mean, the rehearsal's intense anyway, but doing it with, say, the mother of the bride, the mother of the groom, or the grandmother, someone that's poorly, that just, it takes the pressure off the big day, off everyone. It takes the pressure off the one that's poorly to think, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Am I going to be well enough? And we're going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. They're going to fret. It takes the pressure off you thinking, are they okay? Are they okay? Are they okay? They will know their own boundaries and they will understand their own strength. So the rehearsal, we're going to do it anyway. So that extra bit of love, an extra bit of flexibility, an extra little bit of gift that I can give you is that we can do the rehearsal with them, whether it's in their garden, in their house, they join us on Zoom, whatever. We don't need to keep it exclusive if there's someone poorly and you want them to come along. So there you go. There's mothers on all angles, hopefully. Hope that's helpful. Loads more where that came from. 11 years I've completed this year, this May. So I'm now starting my 12th year. So join me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on here, on my website, on Facebook. Just drop me a DM for any questions or any queries or anything that you want to delve deeper in. I'm here for it all. Lots of love. Take care for now. Bye.